Today we read Ezekiel chapter 11 verses 14 to 20. Ezekiel is not the best known of the Old Testament prophets, although you probably recognise the quotation, "I will take away your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh." Ezekiel often spoke in vivid imagery like this. In this passage, God is promising to gather together the scattered Israelites. Ezekiel is a post-exilic prophet, which is to say that he spoke when the people had been defeated and exiled and had either run away or been forcibly deported out of their homeland. They were scattered, dispersed over many countries and a huge area. This was a great disaster and a real trauma for them, because their identity and their faith were so tied up in the land, and particularly the temple at Jerusalem. It could have been the end of them as a discrete nation, a separate people, and they may have seen it that way in their moments of despair. To some degree, some of them would have settled down and made a life for themselves in a new place, and had sensed the protection of God around them. As Ezekiel says, "I have been a sanctuary to them for a little while in the countries where they have gone." But the prophets, like Ezekiel, assured them that this was not the end, that God had not finished or deserted them. Instead, there grew many prophecies of a return to Israel and a restoration of the nation and the temple. "I will gather you from the peoples and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered. Then they shall be my people, and I will be their God." This took place 70 years after the exile, and you can read about it in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. Today, I think of the scattering of our church congregations. A congregation is a group that gathers, and this is what we have been denied since March. We are scattered, not very far and wide, only to our own homes, but nevertheless we have a sense of loss as we can't meet together and we can't go into our places of worship. Thankfully, our churches and cathedral stand intact and ready to welcome us again. And our journey back will not be a long and arduous one over many dangerous miles. It will, however, be a slow and gradual journey, travelling through unknown landscapes, as we seek to find a way back to meeting together safely in post-virus conditions. We don't know what to expect. We don't know how much may change forever. Sadly, we can't just fling open the great west doors of the cathedral and welcome in hundreds of people for a great service of thanksgiving and celebration, as we would love to do, because social distancing will continue for some time, and because we're told that singing risks transmitting the virus. So our first opening will be cautious, and our first services will be for smaller numbers and will be different to what we're used to. Quite what shape that will take remains to be seen. But it will be a return, and it will be a rebuilding of our communal life of worship together. How long it will take to get back to normal, we cannot say. But never mind. We will still be God's people, and He will still be our God.